Go through a couple of questions here. Bank also needs to see them have the ability to pay based on current income. Yep. Yep. It's like requalifying again. I was going to say that next. It's really, you don't just get a loan mod if you've been behind and now you ran into a little bit of money and all of a sudden, yeah, you're back in it. The bank has no incentive to give you a loan modification if you can't prove to the bank that you're making some money again, and not just a windfall of 20, 30,000 cash. You could have borrowed that. Who's to say that when they do the loan mod that you're going to fall behind again? They know that this is most of the time it's a band-aid. So loan mods are not working out right now. Most of the banks are grabbing these properties and they're willing to foreclose on them, and it's just about to get way, way worse. So yeah, you can pitch loan mod, give them the option, but also let them know that even if they pay for a loan modification, nothing is guaranteed at all. It could take some time. They could end up going to foreclosure anyways. And even if they did get the loan mod, just ask them, what is the real chances of you making a payment in the situation you're in? But make sure you word it in the right way. Come across to them like, hey, are you okay with the payments that you have right now? You know it's going to increase when you do this loan modification. You're going to have an extra second loan on there. And most of the time right now, they're doing the loan mods that I have seen. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Most of them are balloons and they're higher rates. So it's not a good option at all. I mean, you could loan mod for the time being, but not the greatest option. Are there things you suggest to owners before offering to take on their property under some agreement? Listing with a realtor, we've got cash, we've got loan mod, we've got reinstating, we've got sub 2 with equity and structuring that sub 2. And now we've got a short sale. So with a short sale, all of us know that these things take 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and they're a handful. If you don't know somebody that has a lot of experience in short sales, don't recommend it ever. They just take too long and you're in limbo for so long where it turns out that most of the time, if you were to delay or postpone the foreclosure, usually what you're doing is 30 to 45 days. And these short sales will take 90 days plus. So you're going to need at least 2 or 3 band-aids to be able to get the short sale to go through, if it goes through. And even if it does go through, well, let me get to this. Foreclosure after a short sale is bankruptcy. You can do a bankruptcy, file it temporarily so that you could postpone the property for a little bit. I personally don't really recommend bankruptcies out there. Some people do. That's just not my thing. I could never have the heart to say, yes, go into bankruptcy willingly, even if it's a temporary thing. There's so many solutions that you can offer before that, but that's why it's down on the list. And then also the banks will give them a deed in lieu. That's the last option. Most of these banks are giving them, now I've started to see here in Florida that they're starting to give some money again. I don't know if you guys were around back in 07, 08, but they were giving around Bank of America, Countrywide, all these banks were giving $10,000 to the owners of the properties to leave the property in lieu of foreclosure. That's a deed in lieu. So a foreclosure doesn't pop up on the property on their credit, but they get some cash to be able to move out and do something with it, which is essentially what we're doing as investors. We're coming in, and if they don't have too much equity and it's low equity, we come in and we pitch them that exact same thing. We come in as a deed in lieu, we'll give them some cash up front, we sub to the loan, and we're in the clear. So now that you guys have the steps, I hope you guys were able to write those down. There's about 7 or 8 steps there. Once you have those down, we're going to go over to procedures. What are you going to need in order to do the postponement? You're going to need the names on the loan, not on the title, but what are the names on the actual mortgage? You're going to need the address. You're going to need who the current servicer is. You're going to need the trustee handling the sale. Yeah, Kevin, I'll be able to help you. Just DM me, man. My Instagram is topflrealtor. The @ at the front. So what you're going to do is names on the loan, address, the servicer, trustee handling the sale. And remember, guys, the trustee only postpones the sale, but they only postpone it based on what the lender tells them. They don't have authorization to do anything. Even though they look like attorneys with all the power in the world to be able to contact the bank, The bank ultimately tells them what to do. So one thing I started failing at the beginning was I constantly would call, I would call the trustee and I would tell them and talk to them. Hey man, can you please postpone this? We can get something going. Um, is there any way you can help us? And all the time I'd get a no. Or a, hey, they've had the time to do this. They're choosing to get help last minute. This is on them. Don't feel bad that they're going into foreclosure. They've had the time. Most attorneys talk about this and I'm like, geez, that's just nasty. They have no heart, but it's not that they don't have heart. It's that they don't have the ability or the power to change the bank's mind. Unless the lender comes to them and says, hey, we're postponing, then they will postpone the sale. I didn't know that at the beginning, so hopefully that saves you guys some time. Are you ever able to get info about sellers' issues from the trustees? No, most of the time they don't know. Step 5, you're gonna need the loan number. And also the last step is gonna be, you're gonna need the last 6 of their social, of the owner's social. The last 6 reason being is that some lenders ask for 6. I know the best case scenario is you get 4, but what happens when you have that one lender that wants those extra 2 numbers and you have to go back to the seller? That's probably a pain in the ass. So try and get that. And then the forms that you're gonna need. You're gonna need to show a purchase contract. You're gonna need proof of funds. And you're gonna need a borrower authorization. With the borrower authorization, usually you're gonna need it wet signed. Usually you'll need it wet signed. The banks, only certain banks are gonna want an are gonna allow an authorization that's e-signed. It's very, in my experience, it's been very rare. So try and always get that wet signed. What else? There is a way that you can do a verbal authorization. You can call the bank, you call the lender, and when you're on the line with the lender, you could just plug in the borrower or borrowers if there's multiple. And very quickly, they just say, hey, this is my representative. You can feel free to talk to them about my loan. And it's usually 24 hours that you get that. So always try and get, if you're going to do a verbal authorization, try and start as soon as the bank opens. If it's West Coast, start 7 a.m. If it's East Coast, start at 9 a.m. But try and do that right away so that way you have authorization for the entire day, because you know for a fact they're going to throw you around every department in the bank. So just be prepared with that. Do I tell the bank we are taking overpayments on a loan when you're planning to sub to? Absolutely not. No, we keep things status quo. Usually we add a servicer that logs into the borrower's mortgage login and makes the payments there, or the servicer themselves makes the payment on the mortgage. But it always looks like we are a management company making the payment on it. Hope that helps, John. So once you have those procedures, which is the information you're going to need, you've got the forms, which is the purchase contract, the proof of funds, and the borrower authorization. You move over to getting copies. When you're sitting there at the table or when you're in with the owner, try and get a copy of the mortgage statement, and even better, try and get the notice of foreclosure. If you could get that, the notice of foreclosure will usually have the most up-to-date servicer information or the trustee that's handling the sale. You're gonna need, the reason I'm saying trustee that's handling the sale, I know they don't have much authorization as far as being able to postpone it, but you're gonna want them on your side, so don't be mean to them. Don't think that they're the A word. I just want you to know that you're gonna need them in a second, because once you get everything lined up, if it comes down to the wire and you're able to postpone it, the bank will sometimes postpone it and forget to tell the trustee. The trustee doesn't stop the sale and the sale goes through. What happens? Miscommunication, and the foreclosure and the sale happen. So you want them on your side. You want to be able to say, okay, I was able to fix this with the bank. The bank will tell you, yeah, we'll tell the trustee to stop the sale. Or yeah, we'll start the process to stop the sale. But what really happened? They forgot to communicate, or the trustee didn't pick up the phone because they're too busy. You want to be able to contact and take it in your hands, talk to the bank, get it postponed, and now you tell them, the trustee, hey, go contact the bank. They just postponed it. It's on file. Call them now. You want to be able to bridge that gap of communication so that there's no foreclosure sale. If there's a sale, I mean, I know I personally, I feel responsible for not having had done everything in my power to stop it. And you're not really doing everything in your power if you just leave it to the bank. What else can I tell you guys? When you call these banks, you always want to talk to the loss mitigation department. When you talk to loss mitigation or foreclosure department, also don't call the general 1-800 number that's on the mortgage statement. Or if you do, and somebody picks up, just remember they're the front line. They're not really they're not handling anything that has to do with foreclosures, nor are they equipped to be able to answer any questions that you have. So right away, just tell them, hey, we just need the loss mitigation foreclosure department. Right off the bat, save your time. Remember that we're in a rush. We've got no time to waste. So do that, and once you get transferred over, make sure that when they transfer you, most of the time, they're not gonna wanna give you the number. Ask for that phone number. You don't wanna, there's gonna be times where the phone hangs up or there's a disconnection and you gotta go through the whole ringer again. So you wanna make sure that you get the phone number up front. I hope you guys are taking notes of this. Best states to pursue pre-foreclosures without complications. Man, Kevin, you're really asking a crystal ball question. I would have to have experience in stopping foreclosures nationwide, man. So I won't be able to do it. Gloria, what do you need help with? If I've missed anything, I'm probably gonna, I'm definitely going to be posting notes on this. So I'm gonna put it in the elephant challenge. I'm gonna go ahead and put the steps, the procedures that you're gonna need, the options that you're gonna give the owners, the forms you'll need. I'll be able to put all that. So don't worry, guys. I want you guys taking notes, but I also want you guys to hear and absorb what I'm saying. Got you, Lisa, no problem. When they go to bankruptcy, how long does it take for the sheriff to come throw them out of the property? Depends on your state, depends on the bank, but it's usually pretty quick here in Florida. I'd say about 2 weeks. They're knocking on your door. 2 weeks or less. Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome, Veronica. When you guys are at the property, if these homeowners are not picking up the phone, or you're getting rejections on the phone, even if they reject you on the phone, just go to the property, go knock on their door. You're just another person on the phone. You're just another text message. Don't take it personal if they tell you that they want your arms and legs and they want to put it in a blender. Don't worry about it. It's not you they're going after, it's everybody. Go to their front door, knock on the door, and just be sympathetic, empathetic. Ask them what they need. Number one, what you can do for them, and how it could benefit them in the long run. If you start talking to them as far as the long run and being on their side and talking like, damn, those banks, I'm on your side. Now you've got the end on them. Leave a sticky note. Pace always says, I wrote this down. I saw your house, want to know if you would like to sell it. Really that simple, either by sticky note or through text message. If you start talking about, I know that there's a sale, or I know there's a foreclosure, you're already starting on the wrong foot. You're already starting. Oh, you guys are bombarding the chat. That's awesome. What else do we got? That's basically it, guys. Do you guys, I'll leave it to Q&A. Jeez, I went 35 minutes on them. Hey, Kevin, I'm actually going to be in Brooklyn next week. Yeah, there's no door knocking there. Let me start going through the questions starting at the bottom. I'm sorry if you covered this, but how do you typically approach the first call with someone in pre-foreclosure? Are you transparent about your knowledge of them being in a foreclosure? Do you have a combo? Have them reveal their motivation? I'd say go for the motivation first and just ask them if they're looking to sell. If, like I just said, if you start right off the bat with talking to them about, we know there's an auction date, sometimes they think you're the bank. Sometimes they confuse you. You don't want to start off on the wrong foot. Just come off as just a regular scammer that's like calling and texting them, bombarding them, and then just work your way in. Try and bring those walls down through connection, through your ability to communicate as a human being and actually caring about them. Once they hear it in your tone of voice, then they'll open up. Yeah, Jeff, you'll be able to replay the session. What else do we got? Hello, thanks for the quick question. How do you handle zombie property owners? True people search, David. True people search. I'll go through prop stream and see if there's any other addresses that they're at, and I'll go to other addresses they've owned. Sometimes there's aliases or people that in True People Search, there's like a mutual relationship, something like that, where they give you different names at the bottom that they've been associated with. And then I look those up. HUD foreclosure list. Oh yeah, I used to hit that back in 08, man. So yeah, Ernest, there's definitely a HUD list out there. I don't know if I recommend that either. Just right now, it's a different market. I saw a couple people raise their hands earlier. You guys want to come on? Raise your hands again. I feel like I haven't heard anybody's voice.
No, I mean,
What's up, Tasha?
Hi, thanks for your
Hey.
time today.
Of course.
And I was gonna ask you, there was a number you said that we needed, if they hung up. I missed that part. I was trying to write so fast.
I'm so sorry. I'm talking fast. You don't wanna call the regular 800 number. You wanna actually Google the loss mitigation or foreclosure department of that lender.
Okay,
Is that what
thank you so much.
Is that what you were asking?
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you. I wrote that down. That was the only part that was blank on my paper.
Of course, very welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
There's definitely gonna be, some small changes, like,
What else we got? I think I told you, Jeff will be able to replay this.
I just want to make sure that you.
What are you telling the trustee if they have no say in starting foreclosure? So with the trustee, you just want to build a relationship as far as saying, hey, in the next couple of days, I'm gonna be reaching out to you to make sure that you stop it. All you have to tell them is that you're gonna be purchasing the property and just kind of like an introduction. That way they know who you are and who to expect. They're probably getting so many calls from different investors that don't really know what they're doing and asking them to stop the foreclosure and this and that. You're gonna come off as a professional just by saying, hey, I know you guys don't really have the power, but just know that I'm gonna be calling you in the case that way I can get the lender deposit. I'm gonna be calling you directly after to make sure that you could postpone it. Just be on the lookout for my call. Bottom line. Me personally, I tell them, sometimes it's an office number. So I tell them, hey, I'm gonna call back again and I'm gonna leave you a voicemail. I'm gonna leave the voicemail in their box since it's an office line. And I tell them to always check back because I'm gonna leave my name, number, and the address of the property. That way they don't have to save my number or jot it down. All of that stuff gets lost. But on their office phone, if there's a voicemail and they could just refer back to it, they'll always remember you and remember that the property you were talking about. Little tip for you guys that I use. Jennifer. I think you're muted. Hey.
So, hi. So I have a list of substitute trustees of, they're not in pre-foreclosure yet, but they're like, like 6 months late or whatever. So they've got trustees taking over. So what, do I just call the trustees?
What would you like to do with the trustee?
Well, I've been cold calling these people. And, I was gonna give them options of saving their house or whatever.
Mhm.
But I mean, is it better to call the trustee to ask them if they want to sell it?
You could use them as a friend because they're gonna be they're ending up talking to the sellers anyways. So
Oh,
I could
as a
see,
branch.
I could see how you could twist it in a way where like, hey, yeah, I did hear from this investor that's looking to purchase your property. They're always in communication with the owner anyways to try and stop it, or maybe the owner of the property is communicating with them. If you guys both come across the same name, it just builds more rapport, I guess, because it's an attorney mentioning your name. They're not gonna go to bat for you, for sure,
Right.
but at least you're on the radar for both of them.
Okay.
You could probably use them that way, but as far as knowing that they don't have any power.
They don't have any power, but they could discuss it with the owner
They could, potentially.
if they,
like I
if
said,
they wanted to.
if
But they
wanted-
won't.
Number one, if they wanted to, because most of the time their time is precious and they're just picking their nose for $1,000 an hour.
Who has chosen these trustees for them?
Good question. I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that. The lender
Oh.
has, but I don't know who specifically, what
lender.
department. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, would the lender be interested in someone saving the property?
How long have you done that?
Yes, they don't want to foreclose them.
Right.
How
So
long have you done that?
can you
But-
call somebody else's lender?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Call the loss mitigation department, get all that stuff to stop the foreclosure. And those are the
Oh,
steps
I
that you're gonna
thought-
be taking.
I thought you meant like if you were giving them options to tell them to call loss mitigation. But what?
I was like, heck no, you want to do it as the pro.
Oh, okay, you do it. And, but they only have, like, they're just a one-trick pony, right? They can only,
The lender can't do much for you.
No, yeah, you want to like,
They'll sympathize
oh,
with
really,
you.
you
They'll,
gotta
they'll
call the people.
Yeah, you gotta convince the owners. You gotta show them that the bank is against them. They're trying to foreclose on them. They don't want to foreclose on the property. They really don't, but most of the time, if you're showing up at their doorstep, like if you're doing it the way I'm teaching you, it's because it's last minute. And they've had the opportunities. The bank has given them the opportunity to stop this thing. Well before the auction day, well before any of this, well before you even come along. So think of it that way. Most of the banks are just gonna be like, hey, we've heard this story before. You're just another person in line.
Yeah. Okay, so, okay, so what's the best route?
If you're gonna postpone it, do it yourself. Call, get the representation, get the borrower authorization. And
Yeah.
just take it in your hands, because you're gonna know the questions to ask. Most of the time, if the borrower calls, they're gonna slip up, say something wrong, and the bank won't want to hear it from them again.
Right, okay.
At
Right.
least you keep the doors open for them,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever make those cold calls to the owners?
All the time.
Okay, so when you do you leave voicemails when they don't answer?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just
I've-
wondering, because I wasn't leaving voicemails. I'm like, they don't, you know, they're
uh,
not gonna
leave
call me back, but do they ever call you back?
From a voicemail. Sometimes I don't even ask. Maybe they have. But I do get calls back. I do have inbound.
Okay,
Yep.
Oh.
I have to scramble and find the address, but yeah,
yeah.
it
Okay,
happens. But leave a voicemail and a text message
okay,
Well.
at the same time. Make them ding. Make them go
Okay.
crazy.
I hope that's,
Yeah.
I hope it's a.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I hope you're doing that, and then we'll have some time for you to chill and.
Smiley.
Yes,
That's,
Hi. I have a couple questions, real quick. When you mentioned you had the three-way authorization,
Yeah, no,
did
I
actually use
want
like a sub-2 servicer, like a person who gets on the phone and, because I saw some vote thing where it took forever, to work their way all the way down to who they needed to be to kind of stop closure or, from the bank point of view. So I don't know if you use like a Kiki, you had mentioned, that type of person, or do you do it yourself or your team or?
I'll start it off myself.
Mhm.
But when it comes down to almost finalizing everything and truly doing the loan modification paperwork, I send them over to my lady Angie. She's in subject.
Okay, and is she a transaction coordinator or is she?
She focuses more on postponing foreclosures, doing loan modifications, things like that.
Okay, great. So then you have, specialist person there. On the
I'll
water
refer all
lane,
of you guys to her. I'll put
Huh?
her number in there for everybody. to
yeah,
use.
definitely. That would actually help. On the water lane thought, when you said it had some incredible number, did you lock the deal up with expectations that a kick out for the water lane if it can be negotiated? Or did you look at it both ways that way and you just tried to find, since the deal had so much equity, you tried to find a lender that would step in and you did underwriting based on the water lane? They're never going to do anything about that water lane.
We do it based on the water lien going in place and not being forgiven. We underwrite like that, always underwrite worst case scenario. So that
Okay.
if the municipality, if the city decides they don't want to forgive it, you're at least on the road, and if your numbers are good, you're good. And
Okay,
then you have,
and-
if it turns out the other way, you've got a bonus.
that makes sense. Okay, and this is my last one, sorry. Have you ever run into deals where it's foreclosure, but there's no equity, the person really can't pay closing, can't do anything, but do you take those, because do you sub to those and, and just
Yeah.
kind of go into debt a little bit with the expectation to make it on the back end?
As long as the
You know-
interest rate is low and the monthly payment is low, yeah, you can catch up their arrears. Even if you go a little bit above market value, catching up their arrears, you know that you're gonna be cash flowing because their payment is so low, since their interest rate is low. So those are great sub to deals.
Okay.
It's actually one of the
Thanks.
only solutions for a deal like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because when you had mentioned it was like so much room, I was like, wait a minute, it seemed
Yeah.
like it would be, super tight, but that was a super deal on that. Exactly.
Yeah, there's a ton of equity on that one, so I had way more options. When they're very, very low equity, that's usually the only option in the sub two, because even if you were to recommend a traditional realtor, they're underwater. Their commissions don't
Yes.
fit, clothing costs don't fit, you actually have to pay to get rid of the house.
Gotcha.
If an investor were to come in and they want to pay cash, they're gonna lowball them, but there's still a mortgage you have to pay that's higher than what their offer is. Doesn't
Right.
work out. So there's so many options that don't work except for sub two, which is somebody that's willing to take the risk because of the monthly cash flow.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But,
What's going on, Sean?
Hey, Jose, thanks for taking.
Of course.
Hey, well, first off, how do you locate people's contact info?
I'm
My
sorry, you're
wife,
cutting in and out.
he was asking how do you locate people's contact info, and you mentioned PropStream.
Yeah, you could do
Um,
your skip tracing through whatever platform you like. I like, personally, I have Mojo as my my dialer. So I could skip trace through Mojo, and if it doesn't work out on Mojo, I skip trace through, I look at True People Search, I just look up their name. There's a ton of different ways. So many platforms offer it.
Yeah, I was
Two,
gonna
three,
say, my wife's gotten contact info for 3 different properties we've looked at just from Google.
Yep.
And actually, one of them, we got it through Facebook. She found a guy on Facebook. We cross-referenced to property records and confirmed that it was him. And we ended up talking to that guy, and he never responded to us. And then for like 2 months, and then 5 days before the auction was scheduled, this is just over this last weekend, 5 days before this auction was scheduled, he reached out to us. And we didn't get the deal. It ended up, he found his tenant financing to go over, and they wanted to buy it. But he
Lucky
reached
him.
out to us, give us an opportunity. Just a couple of my questions. You mentioned already waiting till last minute before you approach these sellers. Like, what do you consider last minute on a?
Go back on the replay for the foreclosure events in the Lions Den. On the second video, I show everybody how to go into the auction calendar for your county. And then I go 2 weeks out. That gives
Okay.
you time to raise some money and be able to find a deal that's very urgent. That might even put you in a pickle where you're helping, and it's a tight timeline. So those are the leads you want, because you got to get to work.
Yeah, because I was then going to ask, like, what's the shortest time frame for you that you would be comfortable being able to close on a deal with your due diligence?
Yeah, with the due diligence, there's usually 7 to 10 days for title search and things like that. I could do a rapid title search with my company, because my title company is we became partners, so I get a discount on a bulk of title searches. But usually not less than 2 weeks. Don't give yourself less than 2 weeks. You won't be able to fulfill your word. You're gonna look bad.
On those title searches, do you just use your title company's free title search option, or do you pay for the title search to get the extra detail?
I pay for that.
Okay.
Pay for it. There are title companies that'll give you their login to be able to do stuff like that. But me personally, I want my title company to make some money too. I mean, I'm making money. Why not?
Yeah, I've got one that's done a couple of searches for me, and they said that they do it for free because they want you to use them for their title insurance.
Some will.
But then they also, in their disclaimer, they say it's like some kind of basic search, where they're checking records, the title's clean, no encumbrances, and they do some kind of brief check into the owner background or something, but
Correct,
it's
yeah.
not like super in depth.
The one that'll cost you is the municipal lien search too.
Okay.
Remember, they're different.
Do you have time for a couple more questions?
Yeah, hit me. Okay, 8 minutes.
So that borrower authorization form that you mentioned, what does that state on it?
Borrower authorization, you can be a general one. You can make a general template, but most of the time the lenders will reject it. It really just has the borrower's name, the loan number, the bank name, the servicer, and just you as a representative.
What is the borrower authorizing? Like, what does it say the borrower is authorizing?
Just to be able to talk about anything on the loan.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, good question, because I'll throw a sample in there. Let me. make
Okay.
note.
How do you overcome resistance if you're asking for their last 4 or 6 on their SSN and they give you grief about it? You just tell us the only way we're gonna need it to talk to the lender?
I usually tell them, go ahead and call your lender and see if they ask for it.
Okay,
Whatever they ask for, that's what I need. That's how else am I gonna help you?
okay. And then last question, I just saw somebody had asked it and it interested me, so I'll ask it for them. If an owner has already filed bankruptcy, but the property's still in pre-foreclosure and listed for auction, is there still any kind of opportunity there? Do you know?
Can you repeat that again?
If an owner on a property has filed a bankruptcy, like if you find out they filed bankruptcy, but that property is still listed to go to auction, is there still any kind of opportunity there?
Yeah, there is. There is.
Offer with a
Remember-
wholesale or a sub two?
Just remember the bankruptcy is kind of the Band-Aid to postpone it. So they could say they filed bankruptcy and they're out of it, but I believe it still stays. Sometimes the bankruptcy, there's things that happen in bankruptcy. So I'd follow up. I'd still go through with it.
Okay. I guess one last question. If you're talking to an owner who's amenable to a sub two, how do you talk to them about how it affects their ability to get financing if they want to purchase a house sometime in the future? Like, how do you have that conversation?
If they're hesitant on sub two or letting the property go to foreclosure and not worry.
No, if they're willing to do a sub two deal, but you're talking to them about, because it'll affect their ability to get credit in the future sometimes to buy a new house if they.
Nope, right away in the first year, it's 75% off their debt to income ratio.
Oh, is that where you were talking about earlier? Like you get them hooked up with credit?
In that meantime, that first year, sometimes they want all of their debt to income ratio to be forgiven or washed out in the lender's eyes. So I put them on a credit repair program for the first year. And
Like,
then
do
the
you
second,
have contacts that you work with on a credit repair program and you just refer
Yeah.
them over?
yeah, just refer them over. Mhm.
Okay,
But right away at the end of the first year, you're already 100% forgiven.
okay,
Not forgiven, but there's ways that you could show the lender that it's 100% off their DTI, the payment.
okay. Thanks, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. Mita, if you can go into the elephant challenge, can anybody drop a link for the elephant challenge? I'll try and get to it, but if you could drop a link in the chat for people to join, I'd appreciate it. I've got a couple videos in there for you guys to look back on. Jennifer, got some more?
Do I have more?
Questions? Your hand was up, sorry.
Oh, my hand's up. I'm sorry. I don't think I ever lowered it.
No, it's all good, just asking.
Sorry. No, I'm okay. No, it's a lot of information. Thank you.
It's a ton, yeah. I'm flying through this like, sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, it's good.
Thanks.
Hi,
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm new to the whole. Well, I say I'm new. I'm not as new to the Elephant Challenge per se. I've been working with Don and Mike on the Dumbo Dial for the last month and a half or so.
Awesome.
I've been working with direct to agents, mostly, but
Okay.
in the Atlanta market, because it's not too far from me. I have family in the area. I wanted to start pushing towards pre-foreclosures. I just wanted to maybe see if there's like any tips and tricks on like how I could like, get started maybe for one. And is it, I don't know if direct to agent even works in pre-foreclosure. So those were the two things I really wanted to address.
In my opinion, I think it works best with direct to agent because the agents are really, there's so many newbies in real estate. Over the last couple of years, everybody and their mom became a realtor. And now you're coming across situations where they're like, oh crap, we're not equipped for this. And they go and talk to their broker, or they go and get a listing that they don't know that even is in foreclosure. Most of the time, the borrowers either don't know or they won't tell the realtor. So the realtor is blinded by this stuff. So I would say still call them. Don't neglect those. The realtor only knows what they know. And most of the time it's a regular sale, short sale, or how to do a loan mod and refer them out. And all they do is get like a referral fee of like $300-500. So you'd be helping them out.
Okay, so two things there, right?
Yeah.
Well, the next big question before we even continue, I have no idea on how to even find pre-foreclosures. Like, how would I go about doing that?
I believe, is it Bert or Miss? The link is in the chat. He just put it up. Go into the Lions Den. And in there, I have a video from, it's a replay from the last event where I show you how to go into the auction calendar and kind of reverse engineer this thing so you could find some urgent leads.
Okay, is there any like platform that I need, like PropStream or anything?
Personally, I use PropStream, but as far as the way I showed you guys how to do it the free way with nothing.
Okay, great,
Mhm.
great, great. And then the next thing, because like I said, I've been doing direct to agent. I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable with agents currently. I've been working with them and I built some decent relationships.
Good,
So
good.
you said that this could be a good opportunity working with direct to agent. Is there any way when I pull that stuff up, it will show that there is an agent involved on those properties?
Even if it does or it doesn't, I throw every address, I throw it into Zillow just to look at its history.
Okay, I got you.
Yep.
All right.
Always double check anyways, regardless of the system that you're using. It could be, yeah, I mean, I double check everything. I'm an integrator. I like to just see things 2 or 3 times to confirm it.
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
Cool, man. Good luck out there.
All right.
Keep joining
Thank
that Dumbo dial. It's great.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, man. I'm definitely gonna pop in on YouTube, man. I'm still learning. I feel like this is a untapped market.
Yeah, it really is.
So I'm excited.
All right. Yeah, but thanks for joining. All right, guys. I'm gonna call it quits. 3 o'clock on the dot. Thank you guys so much for joining, and yeah, I hope you guys got some value out of this. I'm gonna keep doing a couple more. I'm gonna try and be more consistent now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just drop a Zoom link so that way we don't have any trouble as far as people joining. I think we even capped. We hit 90 something at one point, so that was pretty cool.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Amanda, yeah, hey man.
Sorry,
Welcome,
where
Mesa.
can we find the recording for this?
Look in the Elephant Challenge link that Sean just dropped. Look in
Okay,
the chat. You click that link and it'll be in the past videos, or yeah, I think it's called past videos.
thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome, Donna. Welcome, everybody. If you guys want to hit me up, my number's there on my screen. Feel free to call or text. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that. Feel free to call or text. You can follow me on Instagram. And yeah, I'm going to post the forms inside of the Elephant Challenge room. I'll probably put it in the Florida chat just so more people see it. Yeah, sure. Well, welcome everybody. Hope you guys have a good afternoon, great weekend, and yeah, go kill 'em.
Also, so how often do you guys meet?
I'm gonna do this every week. I'm gonna do it Arizona time. This place like that, 11 a.m. Arizona. Right now it's 2 Eastern.
Okay,
Every
gotcha.
Thursday. Yeah.
All right, thanks, man.
Welcome. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.